Well, hello everyone. It's actually been a while this time. It's been a few weeks already. The reason being, I was traveling the whole fucking world during COVID. I was actually, well, as some of you know, I was in Australia first. Then I went to Japan. Then I went to France, Germany, Netherlands. Now I'm here in Mexico. Yeah, it's quite an experience to have been in every continent while COVID is ongoing. So that's the bright side. The not so good side is that I've been on the move a lot, haven't had much time to practice my languages, haven't had much time to actually settle. When you're actually settled, you can actually move faster because you don't have anything else to worry about, right? But while I was in COVID, I was actually worrying about documentation, travel restrictions, planes, infections, everything. So now that I am more or less settled here in Mexico, I can resume studying my languages. So I'm gonna talk about the languages I've been studying recently, which are mainly Indonesian, of course, Dutch, and well, the OG Chinese. So without further ado, let's jump into the video. Well, yeah, first of all, Indonesian. How's Indonesian going? It's been, what month is this now? October. So it's been 10 months since I started studying Indonesian. It's been quite a journey. I really like the language. The other day, someone in Twitter asked me, what is the easiest language that I have learned? And I think I replied Indonesian. And when I say Indonesian, I mean no disrespect to the language or the people who speak it. But I think it's incredibly easy not to have to worry about conjugation, tenses, or like Hanzi, kanji, or pretty much complicated writing systems. It's pretty straightforward. You just read it, memorize it. That's it. You're good to go. I would say that my main problem right now would be the fact that I have very little chances to practice it. I only consider only one person who is a native speaker, my friend, my actual friend who I can ask questions to, but sometimes she takes too long to reply. Hi Fia. Uh, Actually, I don't ask things to her because I don't want to overwhelm her. And I met really nice people also in language Twitter who are really helpful, and I normally practice the little things I know with them. But aside from that, I don't really practice it at all. So I definitely need to get more Indonesian speaking friends. So if you speak Indonesian and want to help a brother out, hit me up. I hope by the end of the first year of learning Indonesian, I would be considered a solid B1 level. B2 is way too out of reach for the time I have left and the other goals of the, the other language goals I have. So I will settle for a B1, which is I think decent for a language that's not related to any other language I've studied so far. So next is Dutch. Well, the case with Dutch is quite interesting to me because it is a language that is really close to a language I am very good at, which is English, but the differences are already quite overwhelming at times. Like just the and het, my God, the and het is was my nightmare. I say was because I recently came to terms with it. Like I just resigned myself to okay, yeah, I'll just learn every word that uses the and every word that uses het. Like it cannot be that hard. I already spent a lot of time memorizing which tone each Chinese word uses, so then het should be not that big of a deal. So now that I have overcome that like mental barrier with Dutch, I think enjoying my lessons more. I'm actually facing no resistance. The conjugation is actually quite simple once you understand the the rules, like the logic behind that. And the grammar is challenging, but it's definitely not impossible. So I think I will be like A2 by the end of the year for sure. Right now I'm at a solid A1, but I really want to consolidate an A2 level. And it shouldn't be too hard. I actually have many um, Dutch speaking friends that are willing to help. I rarely ask them for help because it's like super last resort. I rather like find like some language forums where they would explain. Normally, there's a good explanation. So if I consult one of my native friends, that's super last resort. Dutch is quite close to um, English, so I think as long as I can map the similarities, I should be on a good path. I probably will find a wall that's gonna be like, you were fucking wrong. So until then, I'm just gonna happily study Dutch every day. It's just really interesting. I'm having a lot of fun. It's actually quite enjoyable. Probably like right now, that's my uh, enjoyment language, because sometimes you have like a specific language you go ham with, and with this language, like you see like it's a challenge, right? But I would say that Dutch for me is like a side quest in a video game, like a side mission, and I'm really enjoying it. It's like like in a game when you have to go like I don't know, gather the sheep that escaped the herdsman. It's just like such a chill activity just to pass time. So for now, that's how I see Dutch. And that leaves me with Chinese. Man, what can I say? The plateau is fucking harsh, man. Like I've probably been the same level of Chinese for like what 5 years. Like my peak at Chinese was 2015 when I was living in China in Shanghai. And after that, I was trying to keep my level and stuff. But once started going ham in Japanese and living in Japan, even though I had some chances to use Chinese, it's really not the same. My level was like plummeting. Right now, I'm like doing active efforts to bring it, like revive it, but it's just not working. So as much as I love the language and I study like almost every day, it's just I'm stuck. So I realized I'm gonna do two things. Number one, I'm gonna force myself to speak Chinese or produce in Chinese. By producing, I mean speaking. Like speak to myself when I wake up. Like when I get out of the bed, I said, "Oh, what Chitang," or like super stupid stuff like that. Or like I don't have a pet, unfortunately, but I'm gonna pretend I have a pet and speak to my pet, my imaginary pet in Chinese. So yeah, that's how desperate I am. And number two, kind of like a last resort thing, but not really, is actually paying for online classes. I feel like the reason why my level was actually good at some point was because I was taking private lessons. And honestly, the rhythm, the intensity is just something I miss. The I would say number one reason why I'm not currently pursuing individual classes for Chinese, private classes, is because I do not have as much money intended to that. I'm when it comes to languages, I'm a cheapskate kind of guy. Like because I always tell my friends and people who ask me like, yeah, you can learn languages for free, or even if not for free, for really small amounts. So I want to live what I preach, right? As you probably guys know, I reached an N3 level without ever paying a single cent for Japanese. So I really believe that you can get to a certain point without paying. But I guess it's just such big of a monster that I have to give up and just get some help immediately. My peak level of Chinese, like back in 2015, I would say it was a solid HSK 5, which is like a a C1 equivalent ish. But right now, probably damn like in HSK 4, a B2. Honestly, it's that bad. And honestly, going back to C1 is it's gonna be hard. Like back in the day, I used to use Chinese all the time, completely immersed. Even when I came back to Mexico after China, I was taking private lessons, meeting Chinese people in real life. Now with the pandemic and all, it's just so hard. But on the bright side, recently I discovered a platform called We We WeTV or something. TBWe? No, WeTV for sure. It's by Tencent, and I think it's completely free, and they have like series and shit. So I'm definitely gonna try to get immersed into some of them. The only problem I found so far is that they're like very soapy. Like it's very like romance kind of stuff, which I'm really not into. I'm more of a complicated plot kind of guy. So I guess I have to do some trial and error. Well, I think this is my language update so far. I honestly have put other languages on hold, Japanese on super hold. I have a book where I'm studying Chinese using Japanese, but that's pretty much it. am not really interested in leveling up in Japanese at the moment. French, I was quite excited to practice French because I was going to France, but now that I'm back in Mexico, I have almost no reason to start French. Well, almost no motivation. I have reasons, just not motivation. Portuguese, I've been like dabbling around it a lot, but nothing significant. Korean is fucking dead. And Malay, I treated to some extent like Indonesian. Like I practice them both at the same time. For example, if there's a word I learn Indonesian, I'm like, oh, cool. Just let me check that it's the same in Malay. And I go check, and most of the time it is, but sometimes it's not. So that's the way I keep Malay also in check. Thank you for following up on my rambles. Yeah, if you feel like it, like, subscribe, all that stuff. It was nice catching up with you guys. See you later.